What's going on, Jerome's? So it's weird not to have a Kevin O'Connell Victory Monday press conference. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my hands. But Vikings are 5-1, getting it done, and they have to get it done. Thursday Night Football against the Los Angeles Rams out in La La Land. Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, they go way back like chiropractic. Although it's important to note, Sean McVay has won 0 goose egg DeAndre Russell Super Bowls without Kevin O'Connell. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. All right. But O'Connell fed the local media jackals, had some things and some stuff to say. Let's dive on in. First off, tough, hard-fought loss against the Lions. Plenty of opportunities to win it, but just did not get it done, whether it's coaching, whether it's execution. And I do like how Kevin O'Connell does take ownership of situations where Zimmer sometimes is like, not my fault. Whatevs. Did point out it's a quick 48-hour turnaround to LA. And Thursday Night Football, when you play on Sunday, like, you don't really get practice. Talk about practice. I mean, O'Connell has said that they tone things down, try to get the players back, because here's why most Thursday night games suck. Like, players are mostly banged up still from Sunday, right? And it is that quick turnaround, and it is more walkthroughs than actual practice. He shouted out Tyler Williams, VP of Player Health and Performance. I think that Williams does a fantastic job. O'Connell cites him quite a bit when he talks about players getting acclimated, whether it's a London trip, whether it's moving time zones, whether it's playing on Sunday night, Thursday night, prime time, whatever. Williams is very good at what he does. He's not ready to say about Hockenson and Reisner now. The drawback is, like, there isn't going to be like a full practice, whether it's shells or full padded before Thursday. So they're not going to have extra data, so they'll have to go off of what happened last week, essentially. But it does seem like Hockenson and Reisner are close. Also, Hawkinson's 21-day window closes on Thursday, so they'll have to make a decision with him either way. Also, Cashman progressing back from turf toe. Just O'Connell's tone, it didn't seem too hopeful for Thursday night, but hopefully they can use the village approach. Although Cashman out really sucked, because if you look at Jared Goff's plot chart for his passes, like, a lot of his damage was done in that middle hook zone where Cashman would have been living and thriving. And also Cashman, I'm sure, would have helped against the run, but it is what it is. But getting turf toe is no joke. So if he has to miss Thursday, giving him 10 extra days to get back for Sunday Night Football Week 9 against the Colts, go ahead. And O'Connell said he's not in the moral victory business, which is fair. I mean, it's different because, say the Vikings were 1-5, like a lot of the haters and the losers predicted. It's like, well, we're 1-5, but we got really close against the Lions. I mean, that's something that you could put in your hat. But the Vikings are 5-1, and they want to be Super Bowl contenders. And those are games that you didn't have your fastball. You had a very good team, and you took their best shot. You allowed 4 straight touchdown drives in the middle of the game. You made adjustments. You basically shut them down after that, limiting them to only 3 points. But, of course, the 3 points were the ones that mattered. But you could take positives away. You could be a negative Nelly about lots of things. But either way, didn't get it done in a home division game, and you can't give those away. And O'Connell stressed that as well. Talked about clean up mistakes, penalties, execution, and there's just a lot of things that they need to get cleaned up, right? And also they've had success, but have to raise the bar, which is great, because this team came into the season with lowered expectations, but now they're thinking playoffs. Now they're thinking division. Now they're thinking Super Bowl, and they have to adjust accordingly. Also, with the Rams, showed a lot of love for his guy, Sean McVay. Says that one of his closest friends in the league, and the Rams are going to come in well coached, high intellect scheme. Also, they got Cooper Kupp coming back from injuries. Stafford and Kupp, that connection, it won Kevin O'Connell Super Bowl, right? And it's going to be tough whether Kupp is coming back from rust or not. That's certainly something that they're going to have to watch. Also, his experience with the Rams with 2 years as Sean McVay's offensive coordinator prepared him to be a head coach, because McVay was still the full-time offensive play caller, but O'Connell was involved a lot more than your normal non-play calling OC. And he said he asked a lot of questions, maybe too many questions, but that was a 2-year education for him, and it got him ready to be head coach of the Vikings in 2022 after the Rams won the Super Bowl in 2021. And then talk about pre-snap procedural penalties, just things that can't happen, whether it's Addison lining up off sides, illegal formation, illegal shifts, and it's just... It wasn't good. And also, he talked about, he openly questioned if players are pressing a little bit. He didn't necessarily say it, but he inferred it, which maybe there was a little bit of that too. Where, the Vikings, obviously they played some great football and they know that the Lions were good, and maybe they were just trying too hard. It's a weird thing because obviously you want your players to give two hoots and be dialed in and all that stuff, but there can be a spot where you try to do too much versus just doing your job. Also, holding penalties, wiping out chunk plays, and it was just tough, man. Especially that third drive after the Vikings had the 10-0 lead, and they're just backed up by penalties, and just marching down and taking up some time and coming away with points. Like, that would have been huge for the momentum of the game, but swung right back, and then Detroit ran with it, right? Also, no excuses. How can I prepare this team to be better? And again, it goes back to taking ownership of the situation. He was asked about Dallas Turner. So Turner only had 4 snaps in the game against the Lions, and they were early snaps. So it seemed like the Vikings wanted to get Turner involved, especially with Cashman out. Turner was actually lined up at off-ball linebacker, but then it wasn't even Kamu, really, because Kamu only played 9 defensive snaps. A lot of it was Metellus, and basically the Vikings were playing sub-package throughout most of the day, de facto with Cashman out. But yeah, he talked about how Turner's going to be an absolute monster for him, for the Vikings, and he is behind like a really tough edge rushing room with Grenard and AVG and Patrick Jones second. All 3 of them have 5 sacks, time for the team lead. Hadi Ward is all over the place as well. So it's not. I know a lot of fans are, it's a microwave society, want now, but probably going to have to be a crock pot with a Dallas Turner, low and slow. And not only that, it's not like Brian Flores' defense is the easiest thing in the world. So that's absorbing a lot of information, and they do make a lot of checks on the fly. That's why. It's honestly why they were missing Cashman quite a bit Sunday as well, besides just his play on the field. But Turner's absolutely going to be fine, and he's going to be just a dude for the Vikes. And lastly, so he didn't name Addison specifically, but he talked about how there's a little bit too much bunching up on that third down play, whether it's finishing routes, whether it's initial splits. But yeah, it's so frustrating just to think about it. But Darnold did have to float that ball to Jefferson a little bit because Addison was in the way. And we said at the time there had to be a mistake there, either poor play call or poor design or poor execution, because 2 guys should not be taking up that same amount of space. 2 guys should not be in that same zone because guess what? You bring 2 defenders as well. So that's what's frustrating, is that no matter how bad the day was, no matter how many mistakes you made, if Darnold completes that pass to Jefferson, Vikings win, essentially. Able to run out that clock. Also talked about how they had a good look on second down after they got 5 yards on first down. That also could have done it too. So just extremely frustrating. And O'Connell, like, he understands the frustration from fans. He feels it himself, right? So hopefully it's another one of those spots where he absorbs the lessons and goes from there. And it just goes back to the Bears game last year, and it's just got to be better at closing games out. All right. Hell, just run it 4 times. See what happens. Bet you they get a first down. But all right. Anyways, that's it. Your thoughts are thoughts. Kevin O'Connell feeding the local media jackals on Monday. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You know what to do. Skull production value.